Welcome, welcome, welcome to another program of Focus on Health. I always give a teaser. You've never seen this guest on my show, but guess what? I trapped him into saying he's going to come back. He's an endocrinologist, so they can talk about all the various endocrine organ systems. So we're going to be back right after the other end of this commercial.
Hi, I'm Rosa Evans, Director of Metro Transit System here in beautiful Columbus, Georgia. I'm in training to help with our bus operator shortage. If you're looking for a job, we would love to have you join our team of professionals. Visit our website at columbusga.gov/metro to apply.
Told you we'd be right back. I have as a special guest, first time on the program, his wife, by the way, is a physician par excellence. She is my physician, brought me through a couple of crises that I've recently had. That's why you have not seen me. But I'm here now, very healthy. She's keeping me healthy. And she's busy, but her husband is here. So I want Dr. Bontwell Baliga to look into that camera and let you know all the contact information where you can contact him and my physician, his wife. Dr. Bontwell Baliga, would you look right in there, Dr.
Okay.
Baliga?
Thank you, Pops. It's a great honor to be here today. And the amount of work you do for the local community is amazing. And education is the greatest tool, greatest service that you can provide to the community.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'm Dr. Bantwal Suresh Baliga. I'm an endocrinologist. My office, the main office is in Opelika, Alabama, 3320 Skyway Drive, Suite 602, Opelika, Alabama 36801. Our telephone number is 334-737-2737. Then I have another office in Columbus, Georgia, and address is 1400 Broadley Lake Boulevard, Columbus, Georgia 31909. So you can use the same number. We have a website also. If you can Google East Alabama Endocrinology PC, then you will see our website. But great to be here. Thank you.
Well, and I can attest, I'm here. Everyone says, Pop, you lost so much weight, but I am the healthiest that I've ever been. Thanks to his wife and to her husband too, because he's in it. So we have Dr. Baliga here. My favorite topic is diabetes. And we've been going back and forth about the benefit of monitoring devices. Personally, I said, no, I don't need to do that. I can test my own blood sugar. But then when I looked at his slides, I said, Pops, you want to know something? This is a benefit to your health. And so Dr. Baliga has some excellent slides that he's gotten ready for us. And the purpose of this show really is to encourage, give you enough health information that you can choose to have a healthy lifestyle. But if not, make very informed healthcare decisions, just like I looked at his slides and I saw the benefit of using the monitoring device. So we're going to have Dr. Baliga speak about this here because it will be an asset and assistance to your overall health. So Dr. Baliga, we can go through your slides at your leisure. Just say, next slide. Okay. By the way, is that your pup? Is that your dog?
I wish. So I'm a dog person, but we have some health issues inside the house. We cannot have a dog. So I try to feed my neighbor's dog. I treat them when they go for a walk. So this is me. So East Alabama Endocrinology. So we can go to the next slide. My diabetes journey started a long time back in India. So I grew up in a very small place called Bantwal. That's why my first name is Bantwal. So growing up, I could see my family members getting affected with diabetes.
Sure.
My dad had diabetes, my granddad had diabetes, my uncles had diabetes. And my dad, he had diabetes, plus he developed a heart disease at the age of 45.
At the age of 45?
Then he dropped down dead at the age of 55. So those days, we did not make any connection between uncontrolled diabetes and cardiovascular disease.
Right.
So that's why our knowledge regarding diabetes was sort of primitive at that time, but now it has gone through so many changes. So now we know diabetes We have studied diabetes. We know much more about diabetes. So in the old days, we used to, we did not have a glucometer, right? And patients used to come to our office with their morning urine sample. So we'll put some drops of urine in a Benedict solution, boil it on a Bunsen burner, and see the change in color. And as the color changes, we'll say plus 100, plus 200, plus 300. And that's how we looked at glycemic control at that time. So things have changed. Nowadays, we have glucometers and continuous glucose monitoring system. Next slide. So now we are in the age of Tesla. So basically, if you look back, what we were doing at that time, it was like a bullock cart age, right? Now we have moved to the age of Tesla.
So we've gone from those old chess things to the age of Tesla now. So we've gotten ahead,
that's a
moved ahead
technological
technologically, yes.
Look at this. This is Elon Musk's roadster.
That's exactly right.
And he shot it into the sky, and it's going around the sun.
Right.
You know how many miles it has done now?
How many?
234 million miles and still
Wow.
going.
That's awesome.
So that's what I'm saying, So we have to keep on advancing so that we can take better care of our patients. Next slide, please. So
this slide is very interesting, doctor, and it really got my attention. And
Yes.
if you can go through all of those various steps, it pretty much gives a synopsis
correct.
of a view.
Yes.
When you're talking about diabetes, everything that is included in it. This is one of you have very good slides, but this is one of the most excellent slides right here.
Yes, totally agree. If you look at diabetes, diabetes is a killer disease, right? It's a very bad diabetes. If you do not take care of diabetes, it's going to kill you. So you should take it like your enemy. So when you go to a war, what do? You study the enemy.
That's exactly right.
Then you look at the pathophysiology of diabetes and find out what exactly is going wrong with your body. So several years ago, when I was in Mount Sinai School for Medicine in New York, I went to Orlando for a ADA conference, the diabetes conference. So Dr. Ralph DiFranzo, I call him guru of diabetes.
Okay.
So he got that famous Banting distinction award. And he gave this lecture, and he called it the ominous octet. That means 8 main defects in diabetes. So if you look at pancreas, right? Pancreas is the organ where you have insulin, which comes out. You also have a glucagon. Insulin decreases the glucose.
That's right.
Glucagon raises the glucose, right? When you develop diabetes, the insulin secretion from the pancreas keeps on going down. That's why from a metabolic syndrome, obesity, you will go to pre-diabetes and you develop diabetes.
That's right.
So glucagon is very important hormone also when we talk about diabetes, because normally when you eat a meal, you should have high insulin level to bring down the sugar down.
That's right.
But you should get the glucagon suppressed. But in diabetes, glucagon is still raised. That's
Right.
why after eating a meal, our sugars are like 300 and 400. Then, so we talked about the pancreas and the glucagon. Then the liver. Liver is one of the most important organs in the body when it comes to diabetes, right?
It is.
In the night time we sleep, only 2 organs work. One is the liver, one is the kidney.
That's right.
And the liver, its job, it's like a glucose production factory. So if you eat more, a lot of raw material comes into the liver. It converts into glucose. That's why when you go to bed, some of our patients, they go to bed with a reasonably good blood sugar, like 120, 130. They wake up in the morning, they're like 180, 200. And they're like, doc, I didn't eat anything. I tell them, no, it's not your problem. It's something called a dawn effect.
Right.
So that means even before you get up in the morning, your body is getting ready for the day's stress by releasing all these gluconeogenic hormones, which raise your sugar, like the glucagon and the cortisol and growth hormone and epinephrine. So that's another defect. Then in the brain, right? Brain. So we are all hungry, and diabetics are more hungrier. They crave food.
Right.
So there are some intricate chemical things happening inside the brain.
The brain is stimulate, yes.
Correct. So then the muscles. Now muscles, very important. In diabetes, when you have insulin resistance, the glucose floats around in the bloodstream. It doesn't go inside the muscle. That's called insulin resistance. That's the reason we tell our patients, start exercising.
Yes, exactly.
You
Exercise is
exercise,
extremely
you
important.
become more insulin sensitive, glucose goes inside the skeletal
Inside.
muscle, glucose gets utilized, and the sugars drop down. So never ever forget to exercise. 10,000 steps a day, 30 minutes of physical activity. That's all you have to do. Then the fat, right? When we were growing up in medical school, fat cells were just storage organs for fat. But now we realize that fat cells is one of the biggest endocrine organs in the body.
Right.
Because in the same fat cell, you have good hormones called adipokines. There are bad adipokines, there are good adipokines. So when you're diabetic, the bad adipokines go up and the good adipokines go down.
That's exactly right.
So that's another defect. Then increased lipolysis. Again, when you're very, very insulin resistant, the fat releases free fatty acids into the circulation. It goes into the portal system, goes to the liver. Guess what? You have high triglyceride, high glucose.
Exactly.
So
right.
that's why when there is incretin effect, that's the most latest thing. You heard about all these weekly injections like Ozempic, Trulicity, Bydureon. They are called glucagon, like GLP-1 analogs. Its job when you eat a meal, there's something called L cells in the intestine. They release the GLP-1, glucagon like polypeptide 1, that goes to the pancreas and releases insulin. At the same time, it goes to the brain and tells your brain to stop eating. You
Yes.
feel full. Then it suppresses the glucose production in the liver. It delays your gastric emptying. Guess what? You eat less, you lose weight, your sugar improves. Plus, it has cardiovascular protection.
And all of that is linked. When I saw this slide, I said, this slide in a snapshot tells, this is an excellent slide right here, doctor,
Yes.
that you have here,
Yes.
because it lets everyone see exactly how things are linked together there.
Yes. One of the things I missed is the kidneys, right? So when the sugars go up, kidneys filtrate glucose and gets it rid out in the urine, right?
Right.
But when you are diabetic, more glucose gets
Yeah,
filtered in the
this-
urine, comes back into the circulation.
The kidneys don't release it and releases
keep
it back
on
into
coming
your,
back.
to your body.
Correct. So now we have very good drugs like Foxygas and the Jardians, and they block these SGLT2 receptors and get the sugar out into the urine.
And we're going to talk about some of those hypoglycemic medications. Okay.
Right.
Thank you for that.
Okay, so next slide, please. So this is the problem in diabetes, right? People die because of the diabetes, uncontrolled diabetes. So when patients come to me, uncontrolled diabetes, right? They're sitting across me, and I'm least bothered about their glycemic control because I'm a good doctor. I've got so many great drugs. I can get their glucose back into the normal range. Guess what? Am I going to prevent this person from getting a heart attack or a stroke? See, that's where we earn money. It's not just a glycemic control.
Right.
Because nowadays we have agents like GLP-1 analogs and SGLT2 receptor blockers. They help patients live longer by
Yes.
preventing heart attacks and the heart failures and protecting the kidneys.
So it's not only, and I'm glad that you're making that point, because it's not only about concentrating on bringing it, but all of this as far as morbidity and mortality links together.
Correct.
Links together.
Yes. So let's move to the next slide. Now you'll see why I'm talking about it. See, this is one of the most important slides. When you develop diabetes, your risk of dying increases. Your lifespan comes down by about 6 to 7 years just by having diabetes. And women do worse. Then if you have a diabetes and on top of that, if you get a heart attack, your lifespan comes down by about 12 years compared to your colleagues who have no
That's
diabetes.
huge.
That's huge. And on top of that, if you had a stroke, look at that, up to 19 years of years lost.
And this slide is, you're right.
See,
This
this
is
is a
another-
wake-up slide, right?
This is a wake-up call slide.
Correct.
Right here.
That's
Slide
why.
right here.
Yes, sir.
So if you have diabetes already, you're on a slippery slope. So you have got to
Got it.
check every box, make sure every I is dotted, every T is crossed that your physician tells you.
Correct.
Because you see how incrementally it lessens your lifespan.
So, cardiologists talk about a widowmaker lesion in the heart, right? But the real widowmaker is diabetes, uncontrolled diabetes.
Exactly
It
right.
brings untold miseries to the families. So that's why I'm very focusing on keeping patients healthy, safe, preventing them from having a heart attack or a stroke. Next slide, please. So this is the old way of managing, right? you come to me as a diabetic person, I put you on a metformin, lifestyle modification. They come back, they're not under control, then you put another medication. Then every 3 months you keep on adding another medication. Then there comes a stage where none of the oral medications are not working, then you need insulin. So we start using 1 shot of insulin at night time, then try to manage. Then we reach a stage ultimately when the pancreas totally fails, you need 4 shots of insulin. See how things change from point A to point B, right? So it's a diabetes is a relentless disease. It's not a stationary disease.
Oh, no, it isn't.
It is a relentless disease. It causes premature cardiovascular disease, causes premature death. So next slide, please.
This is the slide here that got my attention.
Yes.
This slide here is the one. The other one did too, but this one right here
Yes.
is the one that said,
Correct.
I see now why
Correct.
they want to monitor it, because you can check your blood sugar. And I manage, when I do my finger stick, my blood sugar is always on the money.
Right.
But when I looked at this slide, I can see where, as it says, you can have unnoticed highs and lows.
Exactly.
That you're not catching on your regular finger slip.
Correct. So that's the reason, So you should realize doing a finger stick is a tricky business because it hurts. Patients are not very keen on doing the finger sticks. So they try to do the least number of sticks, that's allowed. But the problem is when you look at this red dots, everything looks good. They are all in good range, right? But when they look at this person had very low blood sugars overnight,
Right.
which went unrecognized and which is dangerous because patients can die in sleep
Yes.
because of the low blood sugar.
Sure.
Right? Then look at the after meal, how high it goes on the blue. So that means patient is eating and is not on right amount of medication. That's why blood sugars shoot up. So typically, once you become diabetic, we look at, we want to keep your fasting blood sugar. That means when you wake up in the morning, it should be between 80 to 120. 2 hours after eating any meal, breakfast, lunch or dinner, you should always be below 180. We don't want low blood sugars. We don't want 60s and 50s and all. So these are the parameters. But again, when you look at it, there is no way our patients are going to test 4, 6, 10 times a day.
Exactly right.
That's why we have this, fortunately, continuous glucose monitoring systems. We are so grateful that system. So next slide, please.
Could we just stop right here?
Yes.
Bruce, go back to the previous slide. Yeah,
Yes.
okay. What we're going to do, we're going to take a break here. What you just got finished talking about, doctor, is very, very, very important. And so we're going to take a break here, and we'll be back right at the other end of this commercial coming up.
Hi, I'm Mayor Skip Henderson. No matter who we are, parents, business owners, faith leaders, teachers, vaccines help keep us healthy so we're free to do the things we want to do. There are vaccines we need as adults to help protect us from shingles, pneumonia, and the flu. It's easy to find out which ones you need. Just ask your doctor or your pharmacist. I'm so proud of how we support each other in our community. So let's knock it out of the park. Join me in making sure that you're up to date on your adult vaccinations. When you're protected, our community is stronger.
Welcome back to Focus on Health. Now, let me tell you what, Dr. Baliga has so much of this knowledge in his head, and he talked about so many good points that I'm asking him. Now, you saw the slides, so you have those, and you're going to be seeing them again every time you see the program. But I want Dr. Baliga to talk to you one-on-one, looking into this camera, and start with the previous one, which showed how diabetes, first of all, when you get diabetes, you're on that slippery slope to begin with.
Yes.
And have him go through all that, how it shortens your life if you're not compliant with your medical regimen. And then secondly, this is what caught my attention, because we've been going back and forth on this issue here. And when I saw that slide where it shows the peaks and valleys, it was a wake-up call for me. And so this is going to be Dr. Baliga speaking to you in this camera here to let you know, because this is all dealing with morbidity, which is your illness, and mortality, which is Libre here. And so you want to get this information that he's going to, this is a gem. This is gem information. So Dr. Baliga, you've got the ball, like to say at a basketball game, I just told you the ball, You need to make sure it goes through the hoop.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Pops. Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, biggest problem for patients with diabetes is having a heart attack or a stroke and dying very early. As I showed in the previous slides, if you have diabetes, your lifespan comes down by about 6 to 7 years. If you have a heart attack on top of the diabetes, your lifespan comes down by about 12 to 13 years. But if you get an attack of a stroke on top of that, then your lifespan comes down by about 18 to 19 years. And in fact, women do worse than men. So that's why we recommend that you control your diabetes better and go to your doctors and take care of your body very well. And there are certain numbers that you should be aware of. As you know, normal blood sugar is less than 100, right? But once you develop diabetes, there are a couple of pointers that you have to understand. So one is the first thing in the morning when you wake up, what should be your blood sugar? It should be between 80 to 120. You don't want to wake up in the morning like 50s and 60s. We do not want hypoglycemia because hypoglycemia can kill too. So I'm okay with a little bit high blood sugar. So the advice for you is to keep your fasting sugar between 80 to 120 in the morning. Then the next thing is how high your sugar should be after eating a meal, right? So it doesn't matter, it's a breakfast, lunch or dinner. If you eat a meal and test your finger stick or look at your continuous glucose monitoring system, that number should be definitely below 180. If you want a tighter control, you can try to keep it 140 to 160 in younger people. So these are the things. If you do that, then your overall what we call as a hemoglobin A1c, which is a reflection of your glycemic or diabetes control in the last 3 months, that number should be below 7%. If you want a good control, tighter control, if you're young, maybe 6 to 6.5%. But you need to get those numbers without getting too many lows or without getting too many highs. That's why nowadays we talk about time in range. So as we advance to the future slides, I can tell you more information.
Excellent, excellent, excellent job, doctor. And listen, to be perfectly honest with you, if you want to, and I always tell people this here, because one of the things that Dr. Baliga said is this here, that diabetes is a lifetime. I mean, you can manage it. It's how you manage it is going to determine your longevity.
Correct.
And that's a fact. And this is very personal with the doctor. That's why he went to medical school, because it affected his family, and so this is really serious with him. Yes. And as you can see, he has a wealth of information as far as diabetes is concerned. So now we see the importance of the monitoring devices. So now what we're going to do, Dr. Baliga is going to go through the slides somewhat quickly. He's going to talk about the various things, but one of the things that he pointed out, he showed initially the old medicine cases and all with the bottles and that, and then we went to the thing with the Tesla that goes to show you how far we've come along. Okay. And when I looked at his slide, he said that's another message. I said he's trying to let me know that you need to use technology. So he got his point across and all. So okay, doctor, I'm going to let you go through the slides again. Just let Bruce know what slides you want out. You want to go from there?
Yeah,
we
can start here. So fortunately, we are in this age where we have all these amazing remote, the continuous glucose monitoring devices. So basically what we see is something called Freestyle Libre 2. I use it a lot in our office. You see that round disc, white disc, that's the sensor which sits on your skin,
okay.
In one of the arms, and it stays there for 14 days. And there's a handheld device, you see that blue device, you bring it close to the device, it shows you the blood sugar.
Okay.
You see that number 112, but more importantly, you see that arrow mark next to that 112. So the meter is telling you that your sugar is 112 now, but now it's going up.
Oh, that is really...
That's what I tell my people, follow the arrow. The arrow should be like this. If the arrow is going up, that means your sugar is going up in the next 30 to 60 minutes. If the arrow is down, especially straight down, you be careful because you're going to drop.
That is really, really, really neat.
Correct. Then they have an app on their phone and they can look at their numbers all the time. Plus, it gives you a warning if the blood sugar drops below 70. so that you can stop everything, or if you're asleep, you wake up and take care of hypoglycemia.
Because you brought up a very excellent point, because you could be hypoglycemic,
Without knowing.
and it's just as deleterious to you as your
Yes.
blood sugar being
Correct.
high, especially when you're talking about at nighttime while you are sleeping.
Correct. Yes, we don't want such low blood sugar. That's the advantage of having a continuous glucose monitoring system. It's like your friend sitting next to you
Yes.
and watching your sugar for you all the
Yes,
time
yes.
and alerting you. That's your best friend.
And you want to know
If I
something?
had
It's,
diabetes.
it's easy.
Right.
Hey, look, they say confession is good for the soul, so that you got me on board.
Yes.
But this lets you know anything that's deleterious to your health, just by the arrows. If it's if it's increasing, it's letting you know, or if it's going down, it lets you know.
Correct. And most of the time, we assume that, we have this ostrich mentality. We don't want to know our blood sugar. See, now you see that. That
You
means
see
you
it,
make
right.
changes to your lifestyle. You take your medications properly. You change your diet. So this is a good tool for you to have, because you need to know your numbers all the time. As I said, diabetes is your enemy. Keep an eye on that enemy all the time.
Well, it's a wake-up call when you
Wake up.
say, first of all, when you have diabetes, you're on a slippery slope to begin with.
Correct.
And so that's why monitoring it, making sure that your blood glucose levels are within norm,
Correct.
it takes less of wear and tear on your body.
Correct.
And now, while we're here, I want everybody to know where they can reach you at. Would you look in this camera again and let everybody know where your brick and mortar locations look at?
Yes. So my main office is in Opelika, Alabama. It's 3320 Skyway Drive, Suite 602, Opelika, Alabama 36801. And my telephone number is 334-737-2737. Then I have an office in Columbus, Georgia, 1400 Bradley Lake Boulevard, Columbus, Georgia 31904. You can use the same number.
And that's where I go at there. I go there, and I'm very happy to go there because, as you can see, everyone says, you've lost so much weight. Well, you want to know something? That's a good thing. That is really a good thing. And I make sure that I keep diabetes at bay. And I'm going to be using, he's smiling over here to my right, by the way. I'm going to be using that monitoring device.
Devices.
You know, there's nothing like education. There is nothing like education. And that's what I needed. That's what this program is all about. This program is geared solely for you. Solely for you. Because there's three things that will help to keep you on this earth plane: health education, health screening, and health follow-up. Health education, knowing everything that you need to know about diseases and disease processes. Secondly, make sure you go to your health care, your PCP, or wherever, and get proper and do screenings. And thirdly, follow up on your health. And so that's what this program is about. And we're going to have Dr. Baliga back again. Now, Dr. Baliga, did you want to touch base on some of those other,
Yes, if you can run through some of the slides, just to mention.
let's quickly run through some of the other monitoring devices.
Yes. So again, it's the same Libre device. I can watch your numbers from my office on my laptop.
Oh, wow.
Okay, the next slide. This is another continuous glucose monitoring system, what you call as Dexcom G6, one of the best in the business.
Wow.
Again, it's the same thing. It stays there for about 10 days, and you can watch it on your phone, your smartwatch. It has all those alarms going down, going up. It alerts you. One of the best. So we use it a lot. The next one. So again, patients will have this app on their phone. It's called Dexcom Clarity. And we have a Dexcom Clarity in our office, so I can watch your numbers sitting in my office all the time, anytime
That's
I want.
awesome.
The next one. So this is the Dexcom Clarity in my office. The next one. So this is a patient who was on Dexcom, but he was on a Medtronic's insulin pump. And I found out using Dexcom, saying that he is having very low blood sugars early in the morning.
And I noticed notations there.
But yes, so
You know,
because
so
this is the actual
this
patient.
So this is really strict, close monitoring
Correct.
of a person's glucose.
Yes, plus how I change
I know
the
that.
therapy.
That's awesome.
The next one. So this is another continuous glucose monitoring system called Guardian Connect from Medtronics. Beautiful device. Next one. Now, this is the most important thing that I did here in Columbus. This is the world's first implantable glucose sensing technology. It's the only one company has. And here, I did it first in the entire United States.
Are you
We
serious?
did it here in Columbus in 2018.
That's awesome.
So it's a small surgical procedure. You see that small stick?
Yes.
It sits underneath the skin. Then it measures the blood sugar, sends it to this transmitter. It goes to your phone. And if the blood sugar drops, you hear the buzzing, what we call as on-body vibration. If the blood sugar goes up, low. So it used to be 90 days, 3 months device. Now 180 days, 6 months. I put it in. Again, I have 6 months. It stays there. So you can put that black thing. That's the transmitter.
sensor?
Anytime you can take it in and out.
Now-
But the sensor remains inside.
I have a question. When you're out somewhere and you put it to you and you notice that your blood glucose levels are high, how do you get them down? How do you get?
Yes. Then let's say you are on insulin, right? We give you
Yes.
some parameters. I will say, okay, if your blood sugar is more than 300, go ahead and give like 4 units of short-acting
Okay, so
insulin.
it's slide.
Yeah, we give you
let the
information.
patient know the sliding scale number.
Correct. But if you are on the insulin pump, which talks to these sensors, what you call as automatic pumps, then without you realizing, pump will make adjustment for your
The
sugar.
pump will do the adjustments, and that is awesome.
Yes,
That is awesome.
yes, yes.
Well, we're on the end of the show.
Right.
One last time, let everyone know, it's going to flash on the screen while you're speaking, but look into this camera, please,
Yes.
here, and let them know where you're located at in Opelika and here in Columbus.
Correct.
And I'm going to have, you see how much knowledge he has, so I'm going to definitely have him come back on the show, talk about endocrinologist deals with all the hormones, the thyroid, everything, dealing with the parathyroid glands, everything. And so we're going to have him. You see, he's very well known. He's done research, and he's very good. So if you're looking for a good endocrinologist, someone to take care of your diabetes, Dr. Baliga. If you're looking for a good PCP, Pop Barnes goes there, sees his wife. I really like her. She really listens. She dialogues with me. She sees things from your perspective. I'm not saying all physicians. I don't like to generalize, but a lot of physicians don't listen. They want to tell. But she patiently listens. She dialogues with you, finds out what your concerns are, and she's an excellent physician. I can attest to it. I'm still here. And so, doctor, one last time, look into this camera right here and let them know.
Thank you, Pops. It's amazing, the amount of knowledge that you possess is like, I'm surprised.
Oh, thank you so much.
Amazing,
It's so
amazing.
nice.
And
It's
this
so
is one of
nice.
the best programs I've ever been to. And this is very important, like educating the community, because this is a terrible disease. And how can we keep our community safe?
Right.
You give them knowledge. Knowledge is
I
power.
love this, and thank you so
Right?
much. You want to know something coming from
Yes.
him? I really appreciate it. But you want to know something? This is my mission, but the good Lord tells me to do. And I'm thankful to Mike King, who got me started. We're doing this here. Must have been about 10 years ago or more. It was Mike King that said, "Why don't you start doing that? You're a nurse." So, doctor, I want them to be able to come to see you and your wife. So, would
Right.
you look at there?
So my name is Bantwal Suresh Baliga, and my wife is Bantwal Pratibha Baliga. She's a family practitioner. Our office is in Columbus. It's 1400 Bradley Lake Boulevard, Columbus, Georgia 31904. In Opelika, my office, it's 3320 Skyway Drive, Suite 602, Opelika, Alabama 36801. Telephone number 334-737-2737. Thank you very much.
And one last thing, I want you to hold this book here so
Yes.
that they can see this book right here. I got in the office. It's very easy in layman's terms. This is, you see Dr. Baliga there, but the other gentleman, that's Dr. Agrawal there. They're in partnership. And the really good thing about this book here, this book breaks it down really, really, really easily for you. It's an excellent book that you can look and understand and will give you the knowledge that you really need to know. So definitely this says journey, what is the other word? Journey book.
Journey book, yeah.
Journey book.
So-
That's an excellent publication.
Yes.
I want to thank Dr. Baliga. Thank you, Dr. Baliga, for
Thank you,
coming
appreciate it. It's my pleasure.
here. And we want you to come back. I
Yes,
think we're booked up
definitely.
until December, some time frame we come up. Dr. Bantwal Baliga, excellent position.
I'll be here.
I want to thank Mike King, who's over here to my left here, who got me started on this program about 10 or 12 years ago. He suggested it. Also want to thank the Columbus Consolidated Government, City Manager Isaiah Hughley, and Mayor Skip Henderson. Where can you get a program like this here that's geared for you and for your health? And until next time, as I always say, please be good and kind to yourself because God loves you. Bye-bye now.